Hello, here I am again, sitting on my little ball, just because it makes me feel really happy. I don't know what it is about this. I think I just find it really relaxing. But anyway, before I get into the main topic of the video, I just wanted to take a minute to say, whoever you are, you 5 subscribers, thank you. When I started this channel and my Instagram account, I said if I could just help one person by sharing this information and my journey, that would be a good thing. So the fact that I have got 5 subscribers on this YouTube channel, I think is a real privilege for me, and I'm really quite touched. And I got my first comment as well, which was really nice to hear, and that was on the alcohol video. So yeah, that's just made me feel very humble. And on that note, I thought I would just do a little bit more on the alcohol. And because I was conscious that it felt a little bit rushed to me, and it's a big topic and it's an important topic, so I've double checked, and it is definitely episode 86 of the Andrew Huberman podcast, where he talks about alcohol. It's very sciencey. I dipped in again when I was at the gym today. It's about 2 hours, and he explains the science, but the impact that alcohol has on the brain, the gut microbiome, the changes that happen, the chemicals that the brain releases, so hormones and chemicals to deal with alcohol. And I remember it took me back to when I first listened to his podcast in 2023. The fear I felt. I remember I was walking back from the gym and I was listening to it, and I had to keep rewinding and replaying parts of it. And I felt like a fear response in my body. Things, especially when it mentioned breast cancer. But some of the other cancers, because I looked this up as well when I was in the gym today, that alcohol is linked to is mouth cancer, I think larynx, colorectal, not pronounced that very well, and there's even now research underway about the link to prostate cancer as well, and of course liver cancer is a given. But just some of the things, so I can't explain the science of this. This is why I think this episode that Andrew Huberman did is so important. So it's the Huberman Lab, and I listened to it on the Apple podcast, but it's on YouTube as well. I think it's on Spotify. And the importance of, sorry, I'm getting my words all jumbled. It was things like the feeling you get when you feel that you're relaxing through alcohol isn't the case at all. That's chemicals or hormones being released from the brain to deal with the alcohol, and therefore that feeling of wanting another drink, basically the brain wants equilibrium, it wants homeostasis, and all these hormones releases is the brain trying to do that. So I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, and I'm not proud of this, but it was different times. But if you didn't drink, there was something wrong with you. It was everywhere. It was a rite of passage. You were actively encouraged to drink alcohol from your family, your peers, or I certainly was. My parents didn't mind that I was going to the pub age 16. My parents were very responsible in many other ways. Like they didn't know I smoked, I hid that, but I had a curfew. They were particular about what friends and company I kept. They were very strict about making sure I did my schoolwork. So I didn't have laissez-faire parents who didn't care. I had boundaries, but for some reason, alcohol was considered okay. So at age 16, I was encouraged to have a glass of wine with my lunch on a Sunday. When we were kids, my dad would let me have a sip of his pint of beer. My gran would give me brandy to rub on my tooth for toothache, or I feel sick, Nana, I feel like, have a drop of brandy. It's medicinal. And it was considered healthy. Now I know better, and so you can slap an expensive label on a bottle of wine, and you can add flavours, and you can tell me it's the best thing since sliced bread. It's still ethanol, and it's still a toxin. There's no getting away from that. And I feel the video is all a bit jumbled, and I don't mean it to be, but I just felt I needed to do this subject a little bit more justice. So I grew up in a time, and I think times are changing, where alcohol was just seen as good, sociable, some health benefits. It's what you did. It is what you did. You went out with your mates and you went to the pub. And if you didn't drink, people were suspicious. You were either boring, there was something wrong with you, or, oh, were you on antibiotics? And that's another thing. If you were ever on antibiotics for anything, it's like, oh, you can't drink. And when I think back to how I was with alcohol, I wasn't an unpleasant drunk, but I was irritating. I would be a bit of a knobhead because I'd repeat myself, or I'd forget something you told me and then repeat it again. Ask you to repeat it again. But when I think back to my younger self, the amount of times I would always be sick. I would, if I had a heavy night of drinking, I'd always be sick. And people would see that as a weakness. Oh, chundered. I now know that was my body being incredibly smart in trying to get rid of this toxin out of my body. Vomiting from alcohol is your body being incredibly clever because it's trying to deal with a toxin. Secondly, I remember the first time I drank certain alcohols, I didn't like them. Again, that's your body being incredibly clever, that if something doesn't taste right, it's not right for you, you don't want it. And I overrode this natural instinct of my beautiful, clever body and forced myself to have a liking for it. And as I said before, I was what you probably call a binge drinker, so I would typically not drink on a school night, work night, because there again it would affect my ability. But I would typically go out on a Thursday, Friday and a Saturday, and sometimes on a Sunday. And it's just as bad. I mean, there is a faction of the World Health Organization, as I said in the last video, that have said they've classified alcohol as a category 1. That's the most serious carcinogen. It's linked to cancer. There's hard evidence. There is no safe limit of alcohol. There just isn't. But anyway, I know I'm repeating a lot of old ground here. So I also mentally went through a lot of the things which improved for me when I stopped drinking alcohol. So I thought I'd recap on some of those because that's the good stuff. So I used to get bits of rosacea. Gone. My cheeks are pink because it's really cold outside and I'm in a warm room now. Rosacea, gone. My husband, who also stopped drinking at the same time as me, always used to have like a red patch here on it, well, just one side of his face. That went in about a month. So, rosacea. My hair is stronger, healthier, shinier, and grows a lot faster. Alcohol strips your gut microbiome. It just does. So if you think health comes from the gut microbiome, the gut microbiome starts in the mouth. Because when you're eating food and you have saliva, that's all part of the digestive enzymes and your gut microbiome. And I just noticed that, so even though I still do get bloating from certain foods, and I'm still helping to heal my gut from the years of the antibiotics for the skin problems, which is covered in a different video, I noticed just things improve gradually, like bloating, gassiness, wind, heartburn, all disappeared. Anxiety, now I'm perimenopausal, I'm on HRT, I do get a certain level of anxiety, but where it might have been an 8, it went down to like a 4 or a 3. It's much, much more manageable. I'm calmer, I just feel more like that, more balanced. My fingernails have grown better. My skin, oh my God, just, so I've got absolutely no makeup on. I used to have makeup on every day before I go out. I now don't need to. I mean, I've got thread veins, which would have to be treated. That's from prior. But my skin is more plump, more supple, smoother. I don't get any breakouts now. And I haven't really changed my skincare regime because I changed that before I gave up the alcohol to clean, toxin-free products, which I'll cover in another video. So definitely skin, energy levels. And I didn't see like a massive spike, but everything just seemed to be a lot more balanced, equilibrium. Mood, same, better equilibrium. Sleep, that was one of the first things that changed. Just my sleep, just amazing, deep. Even one glass of wine could affect my sleep. So that's just amazing that that's changed. Obviously there's a financial benefit. Other things, my husband noticed he lost weight. He also had like the moods, even though he wasn't overweight, he had that mood. They've all gone. We know now that's like a hormone imbalance. Other things, memory, just seemed to be just a little bit more on the bottom. A little bit of weight loss for me as well, but a little bit more challenging because of the HRT and the menopause. But I definitely have more energy for the gym, definitely. But the other thing is, it's such a benefit of waking up. So like today I woke up, no hangover. And I had friends who would pride themselves on, don't get hangovers, just feel a bit tired. That doesn't mean the alcohol's not having an impact on you. I know this is a topic that some people are just not going to like. I don't know how else to I can't sugarcoat it. There is no safe limit. My life is a million times better without it. The only time I ever argued with my partner was if alcohol was involved. And I think back to my younger days of drinking where, in particular my 20s, I was in a nightclub. I'd had so much to drink. That was being sick in the ladies' toilets, and I napped in there, I don't know how long, and my friend had to come and find me. So I was putting my health at risk and my personal safety. There was another time, I was about 17, I went to a nightclub with a group of friends. I was so drunk I fell asleep in the toilet cubicle. My friend, Katie, left without me because she thought I had already left that club. I walked home on my own. It was 5 miles at 3 o'clock in the morning. I got picked up in a taxi halfway by some of the local lads from my local pub who saw me and said, "You were being followed." That was my personal safety. I could have been raped, robbed, murdered. I would never do that. So that was alcohol. And my friend who left me also would have never left me sober. Alcohol. when I think of the situations that I put myself in, not because I was being brave, but just because I didn't think, that's alcohol. The poor choices I made of boyfriends, friends, alcohol. The money I've wasted, alcohol. So when I think of who I could have been, better choices I could have made, I might have done better in my career. I might have, college, I skipped so many classes because I was in the pub. University, I did a part-time degree. I got a 2-2. Got my certificate out the other day. It's, I don't know if you can see it, it's just there behind me. Because I would often miss lectures to go to the pub. I could have got a better degree. I could have got a first. I could have put the work in and got a first. I could have got a distinction at college instead of merits. All because going to the pub and alcohol was more interesting. Or so I thought. I made poor choices because of drinking and the fun that I thought it would give me. And I look back on my life and I have a lot of regret that so much was wasted on alcohol, money, but so much potential was never explored because of alcohol. I have to carry that. Do I think alcohol contributed to my breast cancer? Absolutely. Along with a load of other things like the vaping and the toxic soup that we live in and the plastics that we're swimming in. But yes, alcohol, I believe, definitely played a part because I was drinking from the age of about 15. How many brain cells have I killed off? So a bit of a boring, for some, somber, slightly depressing video. I'm sorry, but sorry, not sorry. I just thought it was important. I don't miss it. I still go out to the pub. I still have friends, although they've changed because I've lost some. There are some who've just disappeared because for them drinking was everything. And I think they just saw me as not fun anymore, which is a shame. And it's shifted some that we do slightly different things. But there's some who are just exactly the same. Went out with some friends on Friday and I was drinking zero gin because it got like a botanical taste with soda water. My husband was on zero Guinness. Perfectly pleasant evening. We laughed, joked. I actually think I'm better company. My life is much richer in many, many ways because I don't drink anymore. And I'm hoping that it will help with everything else I'm doing for me not to get breast cancer again. So, and the next video I thought I'd do, if anybody's interested, was talk about some of the therapies that I tried and had. Yeah, so that's all for now.